This meeting of the Atlantic County Board of Chosen Freeholders was provided in the following manner. It was published in the Press of Atlantic City and mailed to the Current Daily Journal, Hamilton Gazette News, and posted in bulletin boards in the office building in Atlantic City here in Stillwater, and in the county clerk's office in Mays Landing. All remain seated for an opening prayer. Almighty God, we ask thee to grant us the wisdom to walk in thy light and the courage to accept the responsibilities placed upon us. Amen. Now we will face the flag. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Bennett. Bertino.
Here.
Corsi. Chairman, Freeholder Corsi said he may be 15 minutes late. I saw him on the screen, so I guess he's not present yet and will be 15 minutes late.
Thank you.
Days.
Here.
Patrick.
Here.
Adam.
Here.
Kern.
Here.
Risley.
Here.
And Formica.
Here. Freeholders, we've all been provided with 2 sets of minutes. I'm told June 16th, July the 7th. We've had a chance to review them. Feel comfortable we were there. Without any additions, exceptions, or comments, I'll take a motion to adopt them.
Second.
Moved in second. We'll call the roll.
Bennett. Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi. Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Formica.
Yes. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Several meetings ago, I requested that we try to identify a process that will allow the public to verbalize their questions instead of typing them in a box. I'm pleased to announce that through our staff and through our, internet department here, IT department, we've been able to come up with a process which we believe will protect the integrity of the board's meeting, at the same time allowing the public to speak verbally. And this is, they've tested a little bit, but this is the first time live. So for the public, if you're listening, the attendee who wishes to speak is asked to please just type yes in the question and answer box. Once you type yes, indicates their desire to address the board, a staff member will change the participant status from attendee, which can't speak, to panelist. And that will provide the access to speak. Participant's name will be announced. And when he or she addresses the board, as per our bylaws, you have 3 minutes to speak. When completed, the participant will return to the attendee status. Any freeholder questions on that? Okay, we'll find out if we have any attendee questions very shortly. All right, our first order of business, health.
Hi.
Yes, we're going to have an update from
Hi.
Patricia Diamond. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Freeholder Formica. I have a few highlights. I haven't been, because we didn't meet 2 weeks ago, so I did have various things I wanted to review. First of all, positive cases to date are 3,826. 2,365 have been recovered or have been cleared from isolation. 243 have died, unfortunately. However, we are seeing a decrease in the number of deaths since the spring, a significant decrease. but cases of disease continue to occur, mostly in the younger population and within families. While we continue to emphasize to everyone the importance of social distancing, wearing masks, staying home if you're ill, frequent hand washing, and disinfecting frequently touched surfaces, we are reaching out through various venues, including the media, faith-based organizations, farm markets, community events, the importance of the following in different languages. If you are sick with COVID-19 or have tested positive, and even though you are not experiencing symptoms, you still must stay home for at least 10 days. The only exception is to get medical care or food. You must stay in one room away from family members, including mealtime, use a separate bathroom, and if that's not possible, clean and disinfect after each use. Avoid sharing household and personal items such as towels, phones, dishes, and toys. Clean and disinfect surfaces, cover coughs and sneezes, and limit visitors to only those who need to be in the home. You will be isolated for at least 10 days. If you are fever-free for 24 hours without medication and symptoms improve significantly, then you're free to return to your regular activities. But you must stay isolated for those 10 days. That's very, very important. And in addition, we are emphasizing if you were a close contact, you were within 6 feet of a confirmed COVID-19 case for more than 10 minutes, you must stay home for 14 days after last exposure to the positive case. We realize it's difficult, but it's extremely important to contain the disease and limit the number of new cases. We emphasize the person needs to monitor their health. They need to look for symptoms of illness. If symptoms are mild, they can most likely recover at home. If they begin to worsen and need medical care, then they need to call a healthcare provider and let them know that they will be arriving for an evaluation. They need to wash their hands often, but most importantly, they cannot go out into public places. So while our case interviewers and contact tracers emphasize this while they are communicating with the individual on the phone, we are still going to emphasize it in the community because we feel it's necessary to keep our cases low and further reduce them. Regarding testing information, as you know, we are now providing testing, to asymptomatic individuals. We continue to test asymptomatics. No prescription is needed, but you still need to have an appointment. We have a 25 to 30% no-show rate, and that has been continued since we started. We've tested over 2,900 individuals. In addition to our site, CVS continues to offer testing in Brigantine and Pleasantville. Southern Jersey Family Medical Center offers testing in Hamilton and Pleasantville, and Atlantic Care offers testing through their urgent cares throughout the county. We have just received information from the state that they've determined that expansive and extensive testing of individuals for COVID-19 is essential not only for mitigating and controlling the spread of the virus, but also to determine the prevalence of the spread of the virus within our community. And so therefore, it's providing funding, which more information will be made available to establish and support county-based testing operation. So more to come on that. So we are now also contacting travelers from quarantine states and jurisdictions. Currently, there are 35 of these states and jurisdictions. So far, we have received reports of 218 travels and have attempted to contact all. We currently now have 9 contact tracers from the Rutgers program that are either working remotely or in the office following up on cases and their contacts. They are very enthusiastic and competent. However, they do need a lot of oversight and because they are new in the program. The program itself is very lengthy, and unfortunately, it does take a lot of staff time to oversee it. We are closely working with the schools to assist in the reopening. We have a planned conference call with school nurses tomorrow. We are also tomorrow involved with the State Department of Health on testing the homeless population in Atlantic City. The state will perform the testing, and we will follow up with positive cases and contact tracing and provide health education. We are also moving forward into the future regarding influenza vaccination in our community. We're inventorying pharmacies and other venues, and a few of them have started to offer flu vaccine now. We are also going to be working with Atlantic Care to determine what they're going to be offering as opposed to what we're offering so we can work in tandem. And that is pretty much my report as of today, August 18th, on COVID-19 activities in the county.
Thank you, Pat. Do we have in the public wish to address our speaker?
No, yes. 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 Someone does.
Okay,
Yes, hold on.
let the historic first speaker speak.
Okay.
We, we
Oh,
have
unmute.
Mara Pat.
Okay. Now, can you hear me? Now, can I speak?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. I wanted to say that I appreciate the daily information, the COVID information that the county puts out. I do read your report every day. I was wondering if it would be possible to report the positivity rate as well, which would be very helpful to me. I'm part of a school district, so the positivity rate is, as you know, lets you know what the community spread is, and that would be very important to me. That's my first question. Can we get the positivity rate on a daily basis or even a weekly basis?
Okay.
My second question would be, I know that Cape May County does a free flu shot outreach in October. I checked with them yesterday. And dealing with children in school, it would be very helpful if they had a flu vaccine this year, I think. I know we all want to get our businesses open, and in order to do that, we have to make sure that, you know, the children are healthy and the parents can go back to work. So I don't know if Atlantic County does that, but if they don't, I was wondering if someone could look into the possibility of that. And thank you very much.
Thank you, and we will let Ms. Diamond answer those questions.
Regarding the positivity rate for the county, the positivity rate is the number of positive tests over the total tests that were conducted within an area. So say there was 2,000 tests conducted and 200 of those were positive, then that positivity rate would be 10%. But it's not only just at our testing site, it's hospitals, it's pharmacies, it's a collection of everyone that does these tests. And at the county level, we don't have that available. That is actually collected at the state level. As a local health department, we have asked for that information, but we have not been able to acquire that. So my suggestion is to continue to go to the COVID-19 dashboard, and they will have the state positivity rate, but it is not available. And again, it's a collection of all the tests that are done in any venue that's offering it within the county. Okay. Regarding the flu shots, yes, we emphasize flu vaccine, especially for children. In fact, it's a state mandate for any children that attends preschool and attends daycare under the age of 6. For those that cannot afford flu shots, we do offer it from a vaccine supply that we receive from the State Department of Health. We hope to be offering clinics beginning in the fall. I believe we actually just received our first shipment, and we'll be setting something up. But we actually do arrange by appointment for children to come in to receive vaccination if they do not have a healthcare provider. But we really emphasize to a parent that they connect with their pediatrician to get that flu shot, if at all possible, because you want to make sure that that child has a medical home in the event that they get ill.
Thank you, Pat. Is it not true in the past we have had many clinics where we've offered free flu shots?
Well, we have it for those that do not have insurance or cannot afford it. We get that vaccine from the State Department of Health. So that is an option for those individuals. And it's a self-report. If they say you cannot afford it, then we provide that vaccine. But it's $15 usually.
Thank you very much. Any other questions from the public, please?
We have one more question. We will close out Ms. Perone and open up for Nanette Galloway.
Okay.
I don't know how to unmute.
Ms. Galloway can speak now.
Okay. What's the turnaround time for the county tests?
The county tests, unfortunately, have been delayed this last couple of weeks that we've tested. We advise people that come in to do the tests that they are really looking at, unfortunately, about a week or so for those results. We have been working with the State Department of Health in working on this particular lab as far as the delay in results. Unfortunately, they were really very good in the beginning, and they dropped off a little bit, but they improved. But we are reporting that.
Anything else, Ms. Galloway?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Well, I can tell you that the county administration is pursuing other labs at this point to see if we can come up with faster responses. So we're aware that there's a lag.
Yes, that's true. We are working with other opportunities.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from the public, please, for Ms. Diamond?
There are no further questions, Chairman.
Thank you. Any Freeholder comments at this point?
Chairman, if I may.
Yes, Freeholder Corsi.
First of all, excuse me for my lateness. I was at another event and I didn't want Amy calling my name out, so I wanted to try to get as close as to 4 o'clock as possible, and certainly apologize for being late. I just want to personally, again, thank Pat Diamond and her department for all the assistance they have given Atlantic City regarding the testing sites. As you know, I believe I announced a couple weeks ago, we will be ending the testing sites in Atlantic City on the 25th, which I believe is either next Wednesday or next Thursday. And then the county will be participating by way of the state. And Pat, correct me if I'm wrong, the state came in, looked at the senior properties, and they will be taking over testing. In the meantime, if someone think they have the virus, they can go to their local physicians or attend the hospital, et cetera. But the city sites will be closing down next week. It has been our pleasure at the city to provide that service to the residents of Atlantic City for the last couple of months. As you know, our walk-up sites were more busy than our drive-up sites. We were starting to see the numbers increase in terms of people being tested, but because of the funding and other mechanisms that's in place and that the state is willing to step in, I hope it's sooner than later that they get it together and move quickly, that there's not a big lapse in time to continue the testing, not just for the seniors, but for everyone who want or need to be tested. So kudos again to our health department, the county, Pat, Atlantic City, on behalf of our mayor. We can't thank you enough for all the assistance you have given our staff in moving that project forward. And we thank you publicly, and I know that the mayor sends his gratitude to you and your staff for all the assistance you have given us.
Thank you. I'll pass that along. Thank you. That's appreciated.
And Chairman, my just quick comment is that Mary Pat Perone was just the right person to be our historical first voice member of the public. She's a legend in her own right, in her service to the community, both professionally and in public service. So hi, Mary Pat, good to see you here participating, and thanks for your comments.
Great comments. Any other Freeholder comments?
Chairman, I have a question
Yes.
for
Yeah.
Director Diamond, please.
Freeholder Fitzpatrick.
Thank you. A few minutes ago, at about 3:35, we received a resolution for freeholder consideration based on the premise that conditions here in Atlantic County and Southern New Jersey are different than the rest of the state, and asking us to consider reopening businesses, restaurants, and movie theaters. And I wonder if our medical expert in Atlantic County can offer her perspective before we make that very important decision?
Well, the only thing that I can just explain is that the cases that we see in our county, we have seen a decrease in the number of deaths tremendously since the initial cases in April and in May. We are seeing an increase, as I said, in younger population and in families. So we continue to emphasize that they take measures for social distancing and wearing masks when that can't be practical. So along that vein, I mean, if anything can establish itself along those lines, that is following the guidelines of the CDC. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Freeholder. Well, if we're going to ask that question, then I have another question for Patricia Diamond. Can you tell me what a cashier at Home Depot or Target seeing 500 people a day waiting in line would be any less dangerous than a responsible restaurateur spreading tables around to 25%?
Well, if you can keep the social distancing, I mean, we do, businesses, some of them have not closed, takeouts or whatever since the inception of this. We do see, a couple of cases within businesses, not many, okay? And when other things started to open, we would see one or two a day. But what we don't see is we don't see outbreaks, and we do believe it is because of the employees and the customers are adhering for the most part to social distancing efforts and masking efforts. So again, along with that vein, if those things are continued to be emphasized and to continue to be implemented, you are reducing the likelihood of transmission for this virus. But again, it's at 6 feet distance that is really important.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other comments?
I have a question.
What? Sorry. Freeholder Days.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the updates, by the way. I've been asked with Stockton planning to have some students back on campus here in Galloway and Atlantic City. What input has the county health department had as far as trying to contain any spread or any potential infections that are on campus and out in the community? Because there are several students who live out in Galloway Township and surrounding areas.
Well, Stockton worked on a plan with Atlantic Care. They helped them through their guidance. I mean, there's been guidance out for universities and schools, for quite a while. We also connected with their head of security and went over with them their facilities that they have for isolation or quarantine in the event of student test positive. We will also work with them and have worked with them in the past when there is a communicable disease that requires investigation. So the things that are now in place because of COVID-19, many of them were always in place. It's just a new disease, but the process is still similar. The difference with this disease is this incubation period is 14 days as opposed to like a pertussis case, which would be 21 days. So those processes and contacts with schools and universities have always existed. And we have been in contact with Stockton just to refresh what they're going to be doing and what we are going to be doing. But they really were quite prepared when we had some questions for them.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments?
Yes, Chairman, we have Jennifer Auer, A-U-E-R, who's being transmitted to a panelist.
Okay.
She can ask her question now.
Okay, Jennifer, by all means.
She's been unmuted.
Okay. Jennifer, go ahead and speak if you can.
We do have her question or statement up on the screen.
All
It
right,
says,
yeah, go
let me
ahead.
read it. Cashiers at Home Depot are working behind a glass barrier. Restaurant servers are not. So I guess it's more a statement than a question.
Okay, well, we'll discuss this when we get to the resolution. Thank you for that comment. Okay, any other comments?
That's for now. And please let me add that Freeholder Bennett is having a very difficult time accessing. She gets on and she gets bumped off. So I'm going to continue to call her name in the roll call. And when she's on, she can respond, and when not.
Absolutely. Okay. All right, we'll move on to our first the next part of our written agenda, the ordinance 7.
An ordinance amending the code of the County of Atlantic by repealing current Article 5 in Chapter 73 and substituting therefore a new Article 5 in Chapter 73 and amending Ordinance Number 1, 2004 concerning Atlantic County Radio Network fees. Final reading.
Motion.
Second.
You're muted, Frank.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. All right. Seeing no freeholder comments on this, anyone in the public wish to speak?
No comments.
We'll call the roll, please.
Bennett, Bertino,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Days,
Yeah.
Patrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Hearn,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Sonia, that
So
was a yes
moving-
for me also. I don't know if you heard me.
Oh, I did not. Oh, thank you, Freeholder Bennett. And Formica.
Yes, thank you. We'll move on to grants, 346.
Grant application to the New Jersey Juvenile Justice Commission for innovations funding, amount not to exceed $120,000.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder comments here? Anyone in the public wish to speak?
No comments.
Call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 347.
Grant application to the Atlantic County Insurance Commission for the Atlantic County Insurance Commission Wellness Program, amount not to exceed $1,000.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder input? Public comment?
No public comment.
Call the roll, please.
Bennett, Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Hearn,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, moving on to 348.
Submission of the Atlantic County Fiscal Year 2020 Annual Action Plan to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for the Community Development Block Grant Program and the Home Investment Partnership Program, amount not to exceed $1,891,919.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any public input here?
No comments.
Freeholder comments? Call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 349.
Modification number 2 to the Funds Exchange Program Cost Reimbursement Agreement with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the fiscal year 17 Transportation Trust Fund funding for the design costs associated with Route 629 pedestrian and traffic signal improvements in Ventnor, Margate, and Longport to extend the term date only, no additional cost.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder comment? Public questions?
No comments.
Call the roll, please.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Mika.
Yes, 350, please.
Amending Resolution Number 423 adopted July 30th, 2019, a grant agreement with the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development for the Work First New Jersey program to extend term date only, no additional cost.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Public input?
No public input.
Freeholder comment?
Chairman, just want to make mention, we have, I think, several labor and workforce development items on this agenda between last week and the new agenda. A lot of it has to do with the state fiscal year movement because of COVID. So that's what a lot has to do with it. More just kind of paperwork that has to get done formally. Just wanted to highlight that.
Thank you very much. Any other Freeholder comment? Call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yeah, yes, 351.
Amending Resolution Number 594 adopted December 4th, 2018, a grant agreement from the New Jersey Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse, Municipal Alliance for the Prevention of Drug and Alcohol Abuse, funded amount $388,541, net increase $47,203.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any public input on this grant increase?
No public input.
Freeholder comment? Let's call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. 352, please.
Chapter 159, State of New Jersey, Department of Human Services, Division of Aging Services, Area Plan 2020 in the amount of $3,954,379.
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any Freeholder comment?
I just hate,
Public input?
I hate that they call it an increase. You know, I know they have to, but
Is that Pat speaking?
No, Bob Whittett was on.
Okay,
mute.
call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Formica.
Yes. 353.
Renewal competitive contracts with Atlantic Care Behavioral Health and Center for Family Services for the continued operation of the Atlantic County Family Success Centers in the amount of $292,009 and Atlantic Care Behavioral Health in the amount of, Atlantic Care Behavioral Health in the amount of $292,000 and $9 and Center for Family Services for $560,114.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anyone on the Freeholder Board wish to comment? Any public input?
No public input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi, Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. Bid contracts. 354.
Amending Resolution Number 487 adopted August 27, 2019, a bid contract with Delta Line Construction Company to provide emergency repair service to traffic signal devices at various county locations, to include option to renew for 1 year, for a 1-year period, no additional cost.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. A resolution just giving the option to extend, renew a contract. Any freeholder comment? Any public input?
No public input.
Call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days, Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 355.
Renewal bid contract with Delta Line Construction Company to provide emergency signal repairs at various county locations. Amount not to exceed $50,000.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder comment? Any public comment?
No public input.
We will call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Jimmy?
Yes. Again.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 356, please.
Renewal bid contract with T Masters Collision for categories 1 and number 2 body and fender repairs to county vehicles, amount not to exceed $65,000.
Move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder concerns? Public input?
No public input.
Call the roll, please.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 357.
Bid contract with various vendors to furnish and deliver lumber and hardware products to members of the Atlantic County Cooperative, amount not to exceed $44,960.18.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder concerns? Public comments?
No public comments.
Call the roll, please.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days, Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 358.
Bid contract with Thomas Company Incorporated to provide miscellaneous welding maintenance and repair, amount not to exceed $104,537.20.
Move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder concerns here? Public input?
No public input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days, Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. 359, change orders.
Change order number 1 and final, contract with Command Company Incorporated for improvements along Motts Creek Road, County Route 657, and Public Dock Road in Galloway Township to extend the term date. Net decrease $2,434.70.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder concerns? Public input?
No public input.
Call the roll, please.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 360.
Change order number 1, contract with Aramark Correctional Services for the provision of food services and food service management at the Atlantic County Justice Facility to extend the term date only, no additional cost.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder comments? Public input?
No public input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Freeholder Kern, did you say respond? Risley
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. Miscellaneous, 361.
Renewal lease agreement with the City of Pleasantville for library facilities, amount not to exceed $65,000 per year.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder input? Public concerns?
No public concerns.
Call the roll, please.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 362.
Intergovernmental Services Agreement between the County of Atlantic and the Township of Buena Vista to repave the intersection of Tuckahoe Road, County Route 557, Landis Avenue, County Route 540, Cedar Avenue, County Route 540, and Old Landis Avenue in Buena Vista Township, to exceed $150,000.
Motion.
Second.
Seconded. Freeholder comment? Public comment? Please call the roll.
Comment. Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Horsey. I'm sorry, Freeholder Corsi, I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. 363.
Intergovernmental Services Agreement with the Atlantic County Utilities Authority to administer the Clean Communities Program, amount not to exceed $108,974.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder comments? Public comments?
No public comment.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 364.
Memorandum of Understanding with the Atlantic County Utilities Authority to accept funding for economic development initiatives and the National Aviation Research and Technology Park, and authorizing an amended agreement with the Atlantic County Improvement Authority for the procurement of economic development initiatives and services. Amount not to exceed $4,500,000 for a 5-year period.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any public input here?
No public input.
Freeholder comment. Jerry, explain what the expenditure of this money is, please.
So the money is given by the Utilities Authority to the Improvement Authority, and then they contract with the Atlantic County Economic Alliance for $500,000, and they contract with the NARTP for $400,000, and they're used for operational expenses for those offices.
$900,000 times 5.
Yeah, it's 5 years, $900,000 a year, correct?
Thank you. Any other freeholder input? Call the roll, please.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 365.
Emergency contract with various vendors for election services, including printing, mailing, and cleaning of polling places due to COVID-19, amount not to exceed $250,000.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other freeholder comments? Public input?
No public input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days, Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 366, please.
Amended interlocal services agreement with the Atlantic County Improvement Authority for the administration of the 2019 Community Development Block Grant and the 2019 Home Investment Partnership Program, net increase $35,000.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder input? Public comment?
Nope, no public comments.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. Freeholder sponsored resolutions, 367.
Resolution opposing full vote by mail election in the November 2020 general election. Sponsors John W. Risley and Amy L. Gatto.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
And hear you. All right.
Freeholder Gatto, you have the floor.
I'll yield to Freeholder Risley first.
Okay. Freeholder Risley.
Thank you. I just would like to say I realize that this resolution and the next resolution are moot points now. But the difference being is that the name of freeholder or whatever they want to call this is something that I could care less about. We're public servants. That's not, the title is not important as far as I'm concerned. But when we're looking at this resolution has to do with principle and law, quite frankly. I feel that the governor's actions are totally inappropriate and contrary to law. The reason why I feel this way is that the U.S. Supreme Court at the end of June turned down a proposal by Texas for an all mail-in ballot. The Supreme Court said no. Further, the New Jersey statutes state that we have an appropriate way of voting, approved machines, electronic machines in this county that have been approved. And The title that I cited, NJSA 1953A2, which gives us the right to vote by electronic machines. We wait in line in stores, we shop, we do all sorts of things. We wait in line to DMV. We now go to our places of worship. We now do a number of different things. Even Dr. Fauci has stated that there is no reason not to vote on electronic machine. The chairperson of the Atlantic County Board of Elections wrote a detailed letter to the state that was published in the press. Mrs. Caterson took a lot of time and trouble to describe the mechanics of this issue, and she was not even given the courtesy of a response, any kind of response by the state. So with that, I just feel that this is a matter of principle and that we've been totally insulted as voters by the state of New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Gatto.
Thank you, Freeholder. I echo the sentiments of my colleague, Freeholder Risley. And just also want to add to it, the reason I feel so strongly about having the ability to vote on a machine is not because I'm in any way against mail-in voting. If people want to provide their vote via mail-in, that is absolutely their prerogative. That's their choice. I think we should have that choice. My choice for wanting to vote on a machine is because I feel more secure in my vote being cast by pushing the button, and my vote staying private because my name and my ballot are not on the same piece of paper. So I feel a level of privacy and security in that vote being cast on a machine. Others may feel that same security when they vote by mail. And again, that's fine. My point is that I strongly feel that we should have been given the choice, and I oppose the executive order simply because it does not give us that choice. And I think that is wrong.
Thank you. Thank you, Freeholder Gatto. Any other Freeholder comments?
Chairman, I'd just like to pipe in a little bit.
Freeholder Fitzpatrick.
Thank you. I think this is a situation where we're going to have to agree to disagree. For the last 4 years, we've been talking about our elections being hacked and manipulated by outside forces, and this is a paper trail that is written down and able to be viewed, gone back and viewed again in case there's a discrepancy. That's one thing. The other thing about this particular time, this is not a permanent decision. This is a temporary decision having to do with the pandemic. And it's just not just us who want to wait in line and push a button. It's the poll workers who are generally a lot older people. Those are the folks who work the polls, and they are more susceptible to COVID-19 than the rest of the population. I just wanted to put that out there. I actually thought that this resolution might be pulled since the executive order had come. I thought that it might come off the agenda because it's a moot point, as you said. But those are my two thoughts on the issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other Freeholder comments?
Freeholder Formica, if I can just respond to Freeholder Fitzpatrick on one point.
Please do.
I totally respect the health and well-being of our poll workers, absolutely. But they're going to be there anyway. And now they're not going to be exposed to one person for 5 minutes going in and pushing a button. They will now be exposed to that person potentially for 10 plus minutes as they fill out a provisional ballot, likely having to sit side by side in a way to assist them through that process. Again, these are things that I think we should be thinking about, and again, offering the choice of not only the voter but the poll worker. There are plenty of college students. There are plenty of unemployed people out there who would love to make $200 for a day, and I'm sure we could figure out a training plan for them. But again, that's my opposition to the executive order.
Thank you, Freeholder. Any other comments?
Chairman,
Freeholder Corsi?
for as much as I understand to some extent my colleagues' concerns regarding this situation, as we all would agree that it is indeed a moot point at this point in time. I am sure a multitude of people would have loved to have gone to the polls. However, due to the pandemic that we're still in, you still try to err on the side of caution. And for those reasons, you know, whether we like the governor's decision or not, I will say this, in the city of Atlantic City, a vote by mail in the July primary turned out to be a good thing. In terms of, you look at the numbers don't lie. People do have the tendency of playing with numbers, but it happened to work out in Atlantic City. And as you know, in the 21 municipalities, Atlantic City plays a major part in these elections. And so it's always, we have to weigh it on both sides of the aisle, because there are those who chose not to go to the polls. There's some that would love to go to the polls, but today there's an executive order in place by our governor, state of New Jersey, to say that all vote will be by mail, except if you go to the polling place for whatever point, there's a provision, a ballot there. I would have loved to seen the option to have both vote by mail or either go to the poll, but it is what it is. It's been dealt, and the governor has made it very clear. It is vote by mail, and everyone will get a ballot in the mail. We certainly encourage people to fill out those ballots and put them back in the mail ASAP, because it is a self-addressed envelope, stamp already on it. All you got to do is fill it out and put it back in. This is critical. It's a presidential election. It can help elections up and down the ticket, countywide, citywide, and statewide. And so whether we might not like the decision the governor made, we have to live with it. I'm sure most of my colleagues on this call today would agree. We did not know how the July 7th primary was going to go, but it was some click ups and hiccups. I hope they ironed a lot of that stuff out. But moving forward, the governor's spoken, so executive order is in effect. This different with Freeholder Risley. It is a little different than the next resolution on the agenda. Yes, the Senate, the Assembly, and the governor will sign an executive order changing our names from freeholders to county commissioners. That's in a whole different class by itself, in my opinion. But be as it may, again, I don't want my colleagues to think that we're playing partisan politics with this resolution, but however, the governor has spoken, and we must adhere by that executive order.
Thank you, Freeholder. Any other Freeholder comments? I would be remiss if I didn't bring everybody's attention to the history of voter fraud in this county. I'd be remiss if we didn't know that there have been cases and felonies and people put in jail for voter fraud. So to say that someone doesn't have the right to doubt, or that they would rather see themselves at a machine, pressing a button, voting in person, and as Freeholder Risley pointed out, constitutionally, not that this governor is any different than any other governor, it seems these days, constitutionally, this could be challenged, but certainly not in time for the election. So agree with Freeholder Corsi. The governor has signed the order. That's the way it's going to be. But for the thousands of voters in Atlantic County that believe that ensuring one person, one vote means to exercise your right to go to a polling place, I'm going to support this.
Well, Chairman, if I may, just to, and you're right, it is has been reported on a number of occasions of voter fraud. I would venture to say all of us have reaped the benefits of folks doing mail-in ballots, absentee ballots on this freeholder board. And so we don't condone illegal ballots. And I'm sure someone of us on this board have reaped the benefits of absentee ballots. And, if you break the law, you should pay the penalty. You should be not exempt, no matter who you are, whether you're a D, R, or an I. If in fact you have folks in your campaign and they're breaking the law, you should prosecute them to the highest extent of the law. And so I will not be supporting this resolution. I would agree that it is a moot point because the governor has made his decision.
Chairman, can I have one more sentence?
Freeholder Fitzpatrick.
Thank you. Since it is happening and this is what's going on, I'd like to encourage the administration to provide that we have enough staff on board when the election is happening to process the ballots in a timely fashion so that we don't have the big hiccup that we had this past time in the primary, and that was that the calculations took so long. I think that a lot of people were upset about that. And if we had enough staff to take care of that, that would be very helpful.
Chairman, if I may. Just to beat a dead horse to vote, we already know how the vote's going to go, perhaps. But let me just say this. I would encourage the county and others to make sure that we have enough boxes at polling places where people could drop off their ballots. If it's a camera that has to be put in, installed, we need to make sure that is happening from one end of this county to the other. Let's be proactive in terms of making sure we dot all our I's and cross the T's to make sure that we have the necessary box out there to collect the votes, the ballots, and let the best man or woman win at the end of the day. But we do not, and let's be very, very clear, we do not encourage illegal voting.
I just want a response. So from the administration's point of view, the board, the superintendent get whatever they want in terms of personnel. If they tell you that they're short, it's only because they couldn't get anybody. It has nothing to do with our ability to restrict what they want. We give them what they need. And in terms of the mail-in boxes, the governor said that every county will have at least 10 boxes. Presently, we have 5. And so they're supposed to give us 5 more. And there's other equipment that I know that the board has been asking for. As a matter of fact, today they spoke with me about one purchase that they made, which they think will help them significantly. In addition, the governor said that everybody was going to get scanners, additional scanners. So we're hoping that will come through. The board, have been exploring to get other scanners, at least 1 or 2 more, and they've been told there are none available. So I've asked them to work with the governor's office to see if they have purchased the scanner for them. So, just so that the board understands where this is going.
Jerry, let me ask you this question. I don't want to belabor this issue. Are you indicating or are you suggesting that it's not been that much communication with the governor's office, well, not his office per se, but receiving the additional boxes? If there's a breakdown in communication, I'd like to know that. I do have people I can call and find out what the hotel is going on.
No, I'm not. But with respect to the 5 additional mail-in boxes, no, we were told that they were going to get 5 additional. So I'm not sure whether or not they're getting them or not. I'm merely just saying that he's already told us that we should get 5 additional boxes. If you have somebody, you might want to ask them if they've actually had them on hand. So
right, okay.
Because that would be good. Yeah,
I would agree with you. Et cetera. It is their due diligence to make sure they reach out to the necessary agencies to receive the necessary boxes, or if in fact there's a manpower problem, they ask early on and not wait till the last minute.
Okay, thank you.
One last point, if I would, Mr. Chairman.
Freeholder Risley.
Again, Dr. Fauci has already stated publicly that there's no problem with voting by machines. He's already stated that. If you're not going to go by the doctors and the science, then it just becomes a political mess. We are not mechanically set up, physically, mechanically set up for the onslaught of ballots that's going to be cast in this election. New Jersey, Atlantic County, all the other counties, they're not ready physically or mechanically. You know, Lynn Caterson wrote that letter, delineated it all out very clearly, yet nobody wants to look at the facts. You can always vote by mail. That right continues. It doesn't affect it one iota. Vote by mail if you want, not a problem. But we're in for quite a problem this November. Thank you.
Chairman Risley, Chairman Risley.
Freeholder Corsi.
What doctor did you say?
Dr. Fauci.
Oh, is that the president's doctor that the president don't even listen to?
Dr. Fauci, the one everybody's supposed to listen to.
Oh, okay.
All right, thank you for clarifying that. And
Chairman.
any other comments?
Yeah, Chairman.
Yes, Freeholder Kern.
Yeah, I just want to have like a couple comments on this. Is I know that it's a moot point at this venture right now, but I do believe people should have a choice. I strongly believe people should have a choice, but I also want to make mention with the mail-ins, it's a little bit more than a personnel issue. We've had issues where a machine has put a crease through. They were not counted correctly. That's why they had to go back and recount, I believe, like 1,000 of them. We've also had issues with the mail-in ballots where a barcode was put on too close to the return address. So many things weren't getting out on a timely manner. So there's other things involved with mail-in, and it's not perfect to have a full mail-in at this time. I think it's not really good for us.
All right, thank you very much. Any other comments?
All right. We have one public comment, Chairman.
Please do, yes.
Michael Suleiman.
Sure.
Mr. Suleiman, you can now speak.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I appreciate Freeholder Formica, you configuring this to allow folks to call in. I think that's a welcome addition, so I appreciate your efforts. Michael Suleiman, Galloway Township. I wanted to talk in opposition to this resolution. I would urge the Freeholder Board to withdraw it. I think it's been beaten to death here that this is a moot point. And frankly, at the end of the day, we, all of us collectively, whether we're elected officials or party officials, it's our job to make this thing work. And, I think if the board is working in Board of Elections rather, working in collaboration with the county administration, working in conjunction with the governor's office, I think that's the way to go. I think that's what we have to do. But, frankly, I hear these comments today about, well, this isn't about mail-in ballots. This isn't, those aren't bad. It's just all mail-in. But folks, this is a dog whistle. I think this is meant to sow doubt in the elections that, well, you don't know, your vote's not going to count, or, I don't know, there's been issues with barcodes or this and that. And look, all this meant to sow doubt and fear in the process. So quite frankly, you're going to delegitimize the mail-in voting and suppress Democratic and minority turnout. I think it's pretty obvious. And I would be remiss, folks, the hypocrisy in all this. Congressman Van Drew voted by mail 3 times. Senator Chris Brown's voted by mail. Keith Davis has voted by mail. Denny Levinson's voted by mail twice just last year alone when he was up for re-election. So clearly, if it's good for him, it's good for everybody. Even Freeholder Gatto, a co-sponsor of this resolution, voted by mail in 2015. So, again, it's good for the Republicans to vote by mail, and the snowbirds, let's say, living in Margate, who are down in Florida, vote by mail, but not the Democrats. And I think everybody's missing the point, folks, that the United States military has been voting by mail since the Civil War. I think they have faith in the process. So should we. I think if the Freeholder Board wants to pass resolutions to make the process better, I think we're all for that. The Freeholder Board could pass a resolution today saying, I want a drop box in every municipality. I think that would be great. The governor's office has said at least 10 for every county, but some counties are getting more. The governor's office, I think the Secretary of State is ordering more drop boxes. Ask for one in every town. I've encouraged the Board of Elections to do that, and I hope they're going to pursue that. Ask the front office to fix the statewide voter registration system. There's a part of that resolution that says that, one deceased individual got a ballot. Well, it's got nothing to do with vote by mail. That's a screw up in the SVRS, who, by the way, the head of that is Bob Giles, who's a darn Republican. So he's one of your people. So let's fix the SVRS. It's got nothing to do with vote by mail. again, I think there's ways to improve this process. I'm glad to hear Jerry's comments about more staff and whatever. And frankly, to Mr. Del Rosso's point, if there's a problem with staff, then we should know about it. I think there's a lot of people in Atlantic County who could use the extra money, especially this time of COVID-19. Let's do it. So again, I just think stop the dog whistle, stop the fear mongering. I think the Freeholder Board in a bipartisan fashion has the chance to be a part of the solution here and really be a leader of the 21 counties. And again, it doesn't matter whether you're Democrat, Republican, or Independent. We want everybody to vote. And I think from here on in, the Freeholder Board, myself, my Republican friends on the other side of the aisle should all be talking about how can we get as many people as possible to send their ballot back and vote, because even in presidential years, you still have 60 or 65% turnout, which means 30, 35, 40% of people aren't voting, which to me is maddening. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. Any other comments from the public?
Yes, Jennifer Auer, who does not wish to speak, has typed in that I oppose this resolution. I do not need to speak publicly.
Okay, thank you. Any other public input?
Mr. Chairman?
Oh.
Yes. Freeholder Bertino.
Thank you. I'm listening to everyone's comments on the issue, and everyone, of course, has to decide how they want to support or not support the resolution. You know, I tend to keep things, I guess, in a simplified manner. I simply, I'll be voting in favor of it simply because my constituents that I come into overwhelmingly are requesting that we do the machine. So I've kept it simple. I didn't get into all the dynamics of everybody's argument on the issue. I simply want to represent my district and the people I represent in the way they ask to be, and the way they want to count their votes. And I'll simply be voting in favor of it based on their information to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Any other comments?
The comments.
Freeholder Days.
Yeah, I earlier after the governor's executive order, I asked Jerry if we'd be receiving any funding from the state, because this once again is another unfunded mandate from the state of New Jersey. Jerry, have you done any more research? Are we going to be eligible for any CARES Act funding? You know, everybody's talking about extra boxes, extra staff, extra printing costs. Is it going to be funded by the state, or is there CARES Act money that we're eligible for?
They gave us 60,000 for this past election, which was a lot more. And so the only thing we could do is apply for reimbursement to FEMA, and the state would reimburse us for at least the primary. If and Bonnie's on this line, if the state gives us a letter saying they won't give us any more, FEMA would consider reimbursing us the balance of the funding. So that's what we have to do. We've already asked the state if they would consider, and I'll be explaining this later on at one of the resolutions at the very end, about the money that they're giving us through the CARES Act. So as of right now, it's no. We've asked the state to look at giving us a letter, basically saying that they're not going to fund any more from the primary. Again, this is not being discussed presently. The general.
Okay, thank you.
Question of Gary. Thank you. The $250,000 we just voted on, wasn't that for the primary?
Yes, it was. And but the amount of money, and Bonnie may want to correct me. Bonnie submitted money from the election. I believe the election costs were much higher. Bonnie probably talked to that. So.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
The estimate that I had from the primary was roughly $546,000. The total included all, staffing, materials, mailing, cleaning. And what you saw was the balance of those expenses. That's what the 250 was.
Thank you.
Okay, any other Freeholder comments? We'll call the roll.
Bennett,
No.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
No.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
No.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. Moving on to 368, please.
Resolution in support of New Jersey Senate Bill number 855, renaming Board of Chosen Freeholders to Board of County Commissioners and Freeholder and Chosen Freeholder to County Commissioner. Sponsor Ernest D. Coursey and Karen L. Fitzpatrick.
Motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder Fitzpatrick, you can have the floor.
I will yield to Freeholder Coursey.
Thank you, Madam Freeholder. Let me just say to all my colleagues, as my colleague has said earlier, both of these resolutions somewhat of a moot point. One is that we all understand what's happening and the reason why the name change will be coming forward. For many of us who have, as I believe it was John Risley who said, we serve the people of our districts in this county, whether it's a county commissioner, whether it's freeholder, freeloader, or whatever you may want to call us. We're called upon to serve and to represent the people of Atlantic County from one municipality to the other. But be as it may, we know what's happening across this country in terms of all the racial slurs and names, et cetera. The governor, in conjunction with others, saw fit to make it an executive order to change the names to county commissioners, removing freeholders. And I believe, and I stand to be corrected, Atlantic County is probably the last, or the state of New Jersey is probably the last to use the word freeholders. Going forward, we will be known as county commissioners. But, you know, we're not going to, again, beat a dead horse to death. It is what it is. But we certainly will continue to do what it is we've been elected to do, and that's to serve the people of Atlantic County. But I'd be remiss, Chairman, in my closing remarks on this resolution. This is not a new issue to the Board of Chosen Freeholders in Atlantic County. Some year or two ago, our colleague Karen Fitzpatrick brought this issue up. We did not move on it at that particular time. Come years later, the state of New Jersey saw fit, after all the racial slurs and name callings and those who intend to mean evil to people of color, et cetera, chose to now move to change the name. But this resolution really would have been a resolution that Karen Fitzpatrick wanted to bring forward a couple years ago. But because the issue was hot and heavy, moving forward, we thought it was still, we wanted to put the resolution up as our colleagues around the state of New Jersey, my freehold colleagues who notified us of African descent, have passed resolutions in their various communities supporting the name change. And so we didn't want to make it any different here in Atlantic County. And so we certainly urge my colleagues to support this resolution. We know it is the right thing to do, no matter how we may feel individual, but because it's going to become law with or without us. I just thought it was the right thing for the Board of Freeholders in Atlantic County to take the step, and we would hope the rest of them, Cape May County and others, would do the same in the very near future. Whether it passes or fails, it will become law January 1, I believe it is, and we will be known as county commissioners. And so those of us who had the opportunity to run under that title, that was great at the time, but it's time to move on. And so we ask that this be a unanimous vote on the resolution. I yield the balance of my time to Karen Fitzpatrick, Mr. Chairman.
Freeholder Fitzpatrick.
Thank you very much. Everything that Freeholder Coursey just said, of course, we did talk about this 2 years ago, just about to the date. It was July of 2018. We talked about what the word means and what we felt about it. But what I wanted to say today was, in response to us being public servants, of course we are, and we know that. But what commissioner will do for the public that we serve is make it very clear of who we are and what our job is to serve on county government. Nobody we talk to knows what a freeholder is unless you're in the county bubble. And that's one of the best reasons to pass this resolution in support of the legislature and the governor already approving it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, only downside to this would be that we would have to change all our letterheads, all our signs, all of that stuff going forward. We would hope that there'd be no additional money spent on anything that would mention the name of freeholders going forward, for we have a few months left to go. Use whatever materials that we have left and be prepared. I believe, Chairman, and I stand to be corrected, it goes into effect the first January 1 of 2021. So we would be in the process of now starting to begin the process. And I'm not sure if the governor has signed the executive order yet, but I know it's coming.
We were told that it's passed by both houses. It's waiting his signature. So have you read the language of the whole bill? Freeholder Corsi, have you read the language?
I've read most of it. Is there something I missed in there, Chairman?
Want to know what do they call whoever the chairman is? What do they call the chairman of the commissioners?
You know what they call the chairman of the freeholder.
What do they call the chairman of the commissioners?
We're gonna call you Mr. Chairman Executive.
No. Should be the commish. Should be the commish.
Say that again. I'm sorry. Say that
the
again.
Commish.
The
I
commish?
think I think there should be an amendment that whoever the chairman is, whatever county, you're known if you're the chairman as the Commish.
Okay. All right. All right, Chairman.
Any other substantive comments to this subject today?
Freeholder.
We're calling the roll. We're going to call the roll.
Freeholder. Formica.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah. I just want to. I'm already referred to as the commission, my fantasy football league, but that's okay. I just want to say that I hope today that we are creating history and not erasing it, which is my fear. I'm not going to vote against it, but as a woman, I personally, and someone who chaired this board as the first female chair of the freeholder boards here in Atlantic County, I see this term as a badge of honor to show how far along we have come as women, and particularly today, which is why I have my paper, Susan B. Anthony, who today is 100 years since Tennessee ratified the 19th Amendment and put us on the road to ratifying it on the Constitution. It's been 100 years that women could actually vote and then have the opportunity to run for these offices. If we really want to break down barriers preventing women and minorities from running for office or winning an election, it's not going to come from a name change. Write them a check. Volunteer to help their campaigns. Like and share their social media posts. Introduce them to friends and neighbors. And on election day, make sure you're calling your entire contact list to make sure that everybody has mailed in their ballot or gone to the polls when we're allowed to do that again. And make sure they've exercised their vote for female and minority candidates who have to work twice as hard to raise the funds and get the exposure when they run for office. And there are several studies that support that. Resources are the biggest barrier to female and minority candidates. So if you really want to break down the barrier, write the check. And in closing, I just want to know that potentially when this name change does happen, and maybe Freeholder Corsi can help us with this, will there be room at the table as commissioners from the state at the Atlantic City Restore and Recovery Committee, since there apparently hasn't been any room for freeholders at this time? Thank you.
Chairman Freeholder, if I
Thank
may.
you. Yes.
To Amy's comment, that last comment she made, I thought that there was a seat at the table for a representative from the county. May not be representatives from the Board of Freeholders at this time, but I believe that there's representatives from the county. I think you would agree with me, the more people you have on boards, the less productive they are. But moving forward, when we talk in terms of this resolution, and I agree, write them a check, get them elected. But you got to remember, there was a time we didn't even have the right to vote. And so we talk about landowners and we know what all that meant. We're not going to sit here and do a history lesson today, but moving forward, the law is what it is. And Amy, listen, you raised some points, but at the end of the day, we're going to move forward. And like you said, whether they call us dog catcher or anything else, we have a responsibility to look out and to speak up for the least of thee. And so those folks who expect us to be their voice and on the Freeholder Board and county government and city government, that's what we're going to do. But the name change will happen, or whether we like it or not.
Thank you, Freeholder. Okay. Any other comments or input? We'll now call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yeah.
Corsi,
Yes, twice.
Days,
Twice we get to vote? You voted twice. Yes, please.
Fitzpatrick,
Oh, yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, moving on to grants, 369.
Amended grant agreement from the New Jersey Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse for participation in the Alliances for the Prevention of Drug and Alcohol Abuse to decrease funding in the amount of $226,436.
Motion.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder input here. Public comment.
No input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 370.
Amending Resolution Number 390, adopted July 2, 2019, the Atlantic County Consortium Annual Action Plans for the Community Development Block Grant Program to redirect funds to the fiscal year 2017 Estelle Manor Park Nature Center ADA Ramp and Walkways Project. No additional amount.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder comment. Public input.
No public input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 371.
Chapter 159, New Jersey County's Excess Joint Insurance Fund, Atlantic County Insurance Commission Wellness, in the amount of $1,000.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder input. Public comment.
No public comment.
Please call the roll.
Bennett, Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes, 372.
Professional services contracts with various vendors for alcoholism treatment services amount not to exceed $608,267.
Move.
Moved and seconded. Any input here, Freeholders? Public input.
No public input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. 373.
Professional services agreement with ACOM USA Incorporated for the development of a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan update in an amount not to exceed $122,321.96.
So moved.
Motion. Second.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder comment. Public input.
No public input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. 374.
Bid contract with Smart Break Rooms Limited Liability Corporation to provide and service vending machines at various sites in Atlantic County, revenue generating.
So moved.
Motion. Second.
Moved and seconded. Freeholders. Public comment.
No public comment.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi, Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. Miscellaneous. 375.
Amending intergovernmental subgrant agreements with various municipal alliances for the prevention of drug and alcohol abuse and the acceptance of additional grant monies to extend term date. And net increase is $5,024.80.
Motion.
Moved.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder comment? Any public input?
No public input.
Please call the
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. 376.
Intergovernmental subgrant agreements with various Atlantic County municipalities for drug and alcohol education and prevention services, amount not to exceed $141,608.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder input? Public questions?
No public
Call the
input.
roll. Call the roll, please. Yeah.
Yes.
Bennett, Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley, and Formica.
Yes. 377.
Intergovernmental subgrant agreements with various Atlantic County municipalities for drug and alcohol. I'm rereading the same one. 377?
Yes, please.
Okay. A mandatory agreement with the Township of Hamilton for the County Municipal Open Space Financial Assistance Program to extend the term date only, no additional cost.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder comments? Any public input?
No public input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. 378.
Emergency contract with Gibbs and Douglas doing business as ServPro to provide mold remediation services at the Atlantic County Criminal Courthouse in Mays Landing, amount not to exceed $23,700.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder comments? Public input?
No public input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. Moving on to 379.
Amended Sheriff Services Agreement with Atlantic County Special Services School District and the Atlantic County Vocational School District to provide Class 3 special law enforcement officers to serve as armed security officers for an additional 1-year period, revenue generating.
Motion. Second.
Moved and seconded. Freeholders,
Chairman,
yes, Freeholder?
I have one question through you to Jerry. Do we
Sure.
know if it's going to be any county schools? Have any decision been made by the county at this point?
My conversation with the superintendent of schools, Bob Bumpus, they had reviewed, as of last night, they reviewed, I believe, 6 plans. And those plans were all hybrid plans. And so that, the kids would be there, roughly half the student body would be there 2 days a week. The other half would be there 2 days a week. And then, on the last day, they would clean the school. So every kid would get 2 days in person and 3 days of remote. And so those were 6 of, I think there's like 24, 25 school districts. So
I know that there's a number of school districts, Jerry, that's making decisions one way or the other, whether it's distance learning or a couple days a week in the building. I am sure, I would assume, that the county superintendent, Mr. Gunther, and the county
special services
Bumpus and the superintendent Gunther will get together if, in fact, the time will come or need arrives that they will shut down those properties and everyone go distant learning. I don't know if any freeholders received any information from either at this point, what their proposed plans are.
Freeholder?
I can't speak for the rest of you.
Freeholder Corsi?
Without objection.
So the one area that I've spoken with Superintendent Gunther, which is going to be tremendously difficult to have any remote type of an operation, is special services. Those students there will fall so far behind. They need that hands-on training. So they are scrambling to come up with the proper, protections and protocols. But all the other schools, as everybody here is on the same equal footing, it's going to be a hybrid. But, the answers are not here. They're not here right now, except that they're leaning towards special services having full service. That's all I know.
Chairman, if I may, through you or to the county administrator, if at some point, perhaps maybe at the next Freeholder Board meeting, would it be possible that Dr. Gunther would be able to give us an update, as a county, high school, et cetera? We're not responsible for other municipality schools, but as members of this board, I'd appreciate if he would come and give us a presentation, what it is to propose the best case and worst case scenario.
I think that's an excellent suggestion, and we will put an invitation to him.
Along with Dr. Gaba at ACCC as well.
You also have Dr. Gaba to come here as well. Very good. Excellent suggestion as well. All right. Any other input here on this resolution?
Chairman, Amy's on her game today. Go ahead, Amy. Go ahead.
I'm on my game every week, man.
Yeah, I was going to say today's nothing special. She's always on her game. All right. Any other input here, please? Freeholder, public comment at all?
No public comment.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. 380.
Resolution repealing Resolution Number 313 adopted July 7th, 2020, a bid contract with Ocean Construction Limited Liability Corporation for the installation of bicycle racks for the Margate Ventnor Bicycle Infrastructure Project.
Chairman, can the administrator explain what the hotel
Yeah,
has?
yeah. Do we get a motion? Did we get a motion?
I
Not yet.
refuse the motion.
Second.
I didn't get
Motion
the
and
motion.
second. You got it?
I didn't hear who moved the motion. I just heard second by.
Freeholder Patino.
Thank you.
Okay. I can answer. Jerry, do you want to take an answer at this? I spoke with the owner there, but.
Well, I mean, our county engineer, we've asked our county engineer. I can answer, but certainly he knows the more intimate details.
Okay, Mark, you want to answer the question there?
Certainly.
I don't think Mark's answering the question.
To move forward.
There you go.
I'm sorry?
There we go.
Try
Can you
again.
hear me? Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Unfortunately, we thought this project was going to move forward, and the contractor has backed out of the project due to a technical issue with regard to the contract that we weren't aware of until we received the letter from the contractor. But this contract is back out to bid again, and so we hope to have an award and move the project forward again. And that's really where it is. It's taken far too much of our labor to get this project going, and I'd really love to have it constructed.
Yeah, so let me throw in the layman's version of this. So what you're hearing is Mark's frustration is because we were asked by the two municipalities to do this project. They were eligible for the funding, but they were not eligible to receive the funding. The county had to intercede on their behalf. So Mark and his staff have spent a long time with a project that really, quite truthfully, is not a county project. But here's what happens. Apparently, when the contractor submitted their for the bike racks, they submitted their plan to our consulting engineer. They did not meet the specifications. That's my understanding from Mark and John. Because they didn't meet the specifications, obviously they were asked to go back in and redo their submittals. And because they did not do the submittals, then I guess our resident engineer said, look, you guys need to really put some pressure on them. With that, Ocean decided to pull out of the bid. So that's what happened. So now we're forced to go back out to bid. And that's layman terms. It didn't meet the specifications.
All right, Jerry, thank you.
Yeah.
Jerry, next time you just answer the question then, because you're going to reach the point. However, let me ask you a question. Will this have any delay at all on the project out there?
Well, absolutely.
We've been around for a while.
Oh, yes, because they had to go out to rebid. I think Mark said the bids come in on September the 15th, which means you have a new contractor. You got to get them to read the contract, go back out now and order the materials. I mean,
wow,
that's the bottom line.
How long have we been kicking this around?
2 years.
How long?
2 years.
Woo. Maybe we get it right this time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the resolution? Public input. Please call the roll.
No. Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Little frustration, but yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Frustrated, yes, as well.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Not frustrated, yes.
Always got to be one eyeball.
381, please.
Amended grant agreement with the New Jersey Department of Health for the Childhood Lead Exposure Prevention Program. Net increase $40,442.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Public input?
No public input.
Freeholder comments? Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. 382.
Amended sub-grant agreement with the City of Atlantic City for the Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention Program project. Net increase $13,750.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder comment? Public input? Just call the roll, please.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. Okay, do we have to add this resolution?
Yes.
I'll take a motion to add 383 and I guess I can do both, and 384 to today's agenda.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments here?
Just one thing, Chairman. They came really close to the time of the meeting and we really didn't have a chance to review anything. They came at 3:35.
I'm fully aware of that, and we'll discuss them out a little bit and vote however you feel. But I mean, both are important, in my opinion. Any other comments?
So, Chairman,
Yep. Yes.
I know it's here somewhere, but I can't find it. The clerk will read it into the record.
You don't have the agenda? You don't have the new?
No, I was sent to it. I can't put my hands on it right now. It was sent.
Yeah, right now we're just trying to add them.
But what am I adding?
Okay, fair enough. We're adding 383. Please read 383.
Resolution approving a memorandum of agreement between the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management, New Jersey Department of Health, and the County of Atlantic establishing funding for COVID-19 testing and reimbursement for existing COVID-19 expenses. 384.
384, please.
Resolution urging Governor Phil Murphy to reopen businesses in Atlantic County and New Jersey in the immediate future. Sponsors Frank D. Formica, Richard R. Days, and Amy L. Gatto.
Okay, there are the two resolutions. We got a motion and a second to add them today. Call the roll, please.
Bennett? Ashley, yeah. I don't see. Bennett?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Bring on, yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Formica.
Yes. Okay, resolution 383, please.
Resolution approving a memorandum of agreement between the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management, New Jersey Department of Health, and the County of Atlantic establishing funding for COVID-19 testing and reimbursement for existing COVID-19 expenses.
Move.
Motion.
Moved and seconded. Okay. Jerry, you want to give us the explanation to this, please?
Yes. So as you all know, the federal government passed a $3.3 trillion CARES Act. Within the act, in the legislation, it allowed counties with 500 and municipalities with 500,000 or more people to apply directly to the federal government for funding. So in the state of New Jersey, there are 9 counties. Those 9 counties were asked to work with the state and not apply individually. They all applied individually. And just to give you an example of the kind of money they received, Jim and I had a conversation with Passaic County. They got like 87 million. We've been told that Bergen County roughly got 160 million. Now, these are expenses dealing with, COVID-19. In the meantime, one of the counties, Morris County, has like 6,000 people short of the 500,000. They were denied their application. They asked the New Jersey Association of Counties if they would consider the other 12 counties and fighting on our behalf to the state that there is a pot of money, about 250 million that went to the state for the state and local governments. And so Mr. John Donadio went back to the state and said, hey, look, can you guys consider, since these other 9 counties got these large sums of money, is there anything you could do for the other 12 counties? We began working with, just take you back 1 minute. It used to be every day. Now it's 3 times a week. We work with the governor's office. We're on a call every day. We go through on in our counties. If there are issues that we have, obviously we give it to the governor's office. They try to resolve them for us and work with us. So John began working. His name is Mike Delamata, working with Mike and trying. This is about 2 months ago to try to get the 12 counties, recognized for CARES funding. Middle of last week, they finally came up with an agreement. They asked the counties to read them. We have a committee. We asked the committee to review the agreement. Everybody gave our comments. We had a meeting. We put our questions together, submitted them to the state. Sunday night, I got a call from the governor's office saying they have a new agreement for us. And so they had a phone call Monday night saying, this is the new agreement. If you desire to get the money, you have to have it approved before Thursday or Thursday morning. So we either had to add it to this meeting or have a special meeting in order to be eligible for the funding. So this is the change that they made. So if you were to look at, and I'm not sure what you have in front of you, I know I got it late to Sonia, but what you're going to see is there are CARE monies, CRF, Corona Relief Virus Funding is what it's called. And there are 2 pots of money. There's roughly 1.1 million and about 357,500. The 1.1 are for expenses from, I think, March 1st, roughly through June 30th, that we, the county, have to submit to FEMA. And if whatever FEMA accepts, there's a 25% match. The $1.1 million can be used to match those dollars. Bonnie's been making those submissions. The $357,500 of CARES money is to pay for our test site that we've had running, and we're allowed to run that site using those dollars until until December 1st of 2020. The next pot of money, and this is the major change that they made in the agreement, they're giving us a different set of funds. And they've asked every single county to run, this is the 12 counties now, to run a test site. The point at which we signed the agreement and submit a plan that we have to put up a test site from the point at which we give the plan that's approved until June 30th of 2021. And so presently, we if it's signed, if you agree today and we get it signed tomorrow and it's submitted to the state, then we have to submit a plan for testing. Well, we already have a committee. We will put that committee together and we will put a plan together and we will submit it. Now, just as some backdrop, we've been asked, as you probably know, because you've all probably been asked the same question, why are we only running it 1 day a week, the test site, which is on Tuesdays? The only reason why we're running it 1 day a week is because it's an unanticipated cost in the budget. We were not being reimbursed for this. And so we, the county, continued to run the site because, and I must say that many counties stopped running it because, it was costing, and it is very costly to run a site. And we continue to run it knowing that this agreement was in the hopper and that it was being discussed and that it was imminent. So we continue to run, and we will continue to run on Tuesdays until such time as our plan is approved. And then there'll be an expansion of the testing. And so the thrust of the testing, that amount of money is a little bit less than $1.6 million. It's like $1,583,000 and some change. So it's like 1/6. So that test site will run from, as I said, from the point at which it's signed, our plan is approved, until June 30th. And we're required to serve vulnerable populations. As an example, homeless, essential workers, first responders. We're required to go into urban areas. We can do it as a mobile testing. We could do it as home testing. There's a variety of things that they've given us. So that's in the nutshell presentation.
All right, Jar. Thank you very much. Any other questions on 383?
No, Chairman, if I may, if I said no, but if I can, through
Yes.
to Jerry. Jerry and I had this conversation yesterday, late afternoon. I understand the lateness of it, but if we do not accept the money, some of those services that I talked about earlier regarding testing for seniors and others would not be available. So I know it's bad planning on the state's part in the attempt to make it an emergency on ours. Or we are in a no-win situation, especially with the potential of a rebirth of this virus coming around. Could happen, but let's err on the side of caution, and certainly urge my colleagues to support this resolution.
Freeholder, I hope you're going to tell them why we had that conversation.
Jerry, I was going to say that for the good of the order.
Okay. All right. Any other comments or input? Let's call the roll. Sonia, you're muted.
I have this sign, Chairman, unmute Sonia, so I just want you to know this.
Okay.
Bennett? Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
And Risley.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. And Formica, right?
And Formica, yes, I forgot Formica, yes.
All right. 384, please.
Resolution urging Governor Phil Murphy to reopen businesses in Atlantic County and New Jersey in the immediate future. Sponsors Frank D. Formica, Richard R. Days, and Amy L. Gatto.
If you could, Madam Clerk, could you read the resolution?
Certainly. Whereas the New Jersey Business Coalition and the Greater Atlantic City Chamber of Commerce released a joint statement August 11, 2020, and forwarded a letter to Governor Phil Murphy urging him to end the pause mode of the reopening of New Jersey's businesses, citing the coalition's Recovery and Reinvention Framework 2.0, a comprehensive update to the original framework issued in early May, pointing to improving numbers in reported cases, decreased hospitalizations, and better capacity in the state's healthcare facilities, and strongly encouraging a broader or regional reopening of New Jersey's economy. And whereas the statement states, if data determines dates relative to reopening, and as Governor Murphy has consistently said, it is appropriate that as our COVID-19 cases continue to go down, New Jersey's economic numbers should rise. Unfortunately, this is not the case, and we find ourselves and our economy in an unnecessary and extenuated pause mode with a rate of transmission of 0.98 and a positivity rate of 1.6%. There is no reason not to proceed to reopen the county. And whereas the coalition also called for a regional approach to opening based on data if there is not a willingness by the governor to fully reopen the state for business, inasmuch as decisive action is needed immediately so business will know whether to plan for a further reopening now or a prolonged limit on their business stating. As such, a grid of safe versus cautious counties can easily be developed, and we should continue to reopen in regions of the state where the trend lines indicate the ability to do so. And whereas summarily, Atlantic County Executive Dennis Levinson yesterday, in response to Governor Murphy's August 14 announcement, requesting the state to bear with him and his administration while they decide when and how to permit indoor dining at restaurants and bars or allow gyms, movie theaters, or entertainment venues to reopen, stated, Atlantic County businesses cannot afford to wait any longer, having already lost Memorial Day and 4th of July business and are fast approaching the fall season with no indication that the governor will permit indoor dining and entertainment anytime soon. And whereas County Executive Levinson noted the following, our restaurants are dying on the vine and cannot survive on just takeout, delivery, and curbside service alone, or will become much less appealing as temperatures drop and our active hurricane season continues to pose threats. Restaurants and possibly bars, gyms, and movie theaters should be allowed to reopen at limited capacity with the same health and safety requirements that businesses such as Target, Home Depot, ShopRite, Acme, CVS, shopping malls, arcades, and child care centers must maintain. Where's the data that says it is somehow safe to open those big box stores and indoor businesses than it would be for a restaurant or movie theater to open? We are fighting for our economic lives here, and we need the governor to take action. A report by State Dem Analytics indicated New Jersey had a second quarter economic loss at an annualized rate of 34.6%, higher than the national annualized loss. And even more disturbing was Atlantic County's 40% drop in gross domestic product, the highest among all counties in the state. In March, the Brookings Institution projected the Atlantic City metro region would be the third most recession vulnerable area in the United States, with more than 1/3 of its workforce threatened by coronavirus related uncertainties. Whereas County Executive Levinson further stated, if those businesses have any chance to survive, they need the opportunity to reopen, and we are confident they can open safely and without placing any additional risk on their customers. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Atlantic concurs with statements made and reasons given by our businesses and elected leaders reflected above, and notes that the uncertainties and economic damage to Atlantic County reflected therein are not economically sustainable, and urges Governor Phil Murphy to seriously consider and plan with our leaders for a safe and reasonable reopening of our businesses in the immediate future. Be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be forwarded forthwith to the governor, state senate, state assembly, each state and congressionally elected official representing any portion of Atlantic County, our county executive, the New Jersey Business Coalition, and the Greater Atlantic City Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. So, I mean, the resolution is really, is about as apolitical as a resolution can be. I mean, I don't know how in touch individually we are with the business communities. I know that we all have some business savvy, but, just take a look at the trend that's happening across the country, and then we'll get to our area. 600 Pizza Huts are going to close, period. That's permanently. In our little area, just Atlantic County alone, every single, operator inside a casino, it's a restaurant, the takeout restaurants that are trying to be takeout now know when the weather comes, it's over. And the argument is simple. I take Ms. Auer's comment. She said that people at Home Depot are working behind glass barriers at the cashiers. Well, not the people in the aisles, not the people walking up and down helping you get your lumber. I mean, there's 25 people in those aisles, and I'm not knocking their operation. I think that you could easily see that a restaurant owner fighting for his life, which, by the way, it's not just the restaurant owner. It's all the people in the back of the house that make the food, that serve the food. Their livelihoods are done too. And I think it's reasonable to think that these business owners can be protective of their workers and of their clients, and they should have a chance to survive and not die. I welcome any comments.
Chairman,
Yes, Freeholder Fitzpatrick.
there are a couple of things that are that stick out to me in this resolution, and the most important one, I think, is the transmission rate, which is now less than 1. And that's what we've been looking for. We've been looking for it to be less than 1 to 1, and that's a really good thing. And of course, nobody here, we all live right here where tourism and dining are our major industry, and everybody wants our businesses to reopen. I get that. What I want to know is who enforces the distancing and the numbers? Because people have asked me that before, and I haven't been able to give them good answers. Who enforces the 25%?
And I think the gym owners that own Atlas know who enforces it, because they had the state police break down their barriers a couple of times. But in reality, that question can be applied right now to Walmart, to CVS, to Target, to Home Depot, to Lowe's, to the convenience stores on the corners of Atlantic City. There's 10, 15 people in there. I agree with you. I mean, the enforcement end of it has to, but I would say this, I would say nobody's more in the public than restaurant owners, and they deserve a chance to survive. The alternative is that we are going to permanently damage. It's like, it's like something that won't come back. We're going to permanently damage the basis of our restaurant industry and tourism industry. They should at least have a chance. There is an argument that this is not Bergen, this is not Hudson, this is not Essex. Our numbers are good. These restaurants right now, if you go to any one of them that have outside tents, they're doing a good job. But they no restaurant, no business has been able to prepare for the 9 months of worry. The 3 months of hurry was here, and they didn't have their inside dining to prepare for the winter. So nobody's going into the winter with a reserve of cash. I believe this is critical, and we should at least ask the governor to take a look at this and put a study on it for the survival of our constituents here.
I'm not arguing against you. I agree with you that our businesses, our restaurants need a chance to survive. But I'm honestly asking, when somebody tells me there are 50 people in the pizza parlor down the street from my house, what do I do? What's the answer?
Yeah, I have to say that that's a question that I don't know that anybody can answer. But I do know if there's guidelines, these restaurateurs want to stay in business, and they've been able to do it outside. I think they can do it in their place and give it a try.
Okay, I agree that the governor should take a look at us because we are not Essex, we are not Hudson, we are not a hot spot. We are sparse. That's why we can't get any money, right?
That's the rumor.
So, okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Freeholder Days.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Almost on a daily basis, I receive emails, phone calls, text messages from restaurant owners, other business owners, as you said, employees in these restaurants. No one here is saying, and I think this is important to state, that the virus doesn't exist, that we haven't unfortunately lost lives to the virus. No one's saying don't follow CDC regulations. I think what we are saying is that in the greater AC Chamber, the Business Coalition is saying is that they have plans in place. The hospitality industry has plans in place. The governor keeps saying sooner rather than later, but it is later. Every state around us, 49 other states have at some point opened inside dining and entertainment regionally. So it is later. The concern is how much later do we wait and how much more of an impact, a negative impact, does it have on our economy? I don't think it's for us to answer what happens if the restaurant or the business has exceeded their capacity. I think that a lot of them, but what I've seen, nobody wants to jeopardize their licenses. Nobody wants to do anything that's going to not allow them to continue to be open. So I think they've done, and hopefully will continue to do a good job of taking care of themselves. And like I said, all the other states, Connecticut's been open at 50% indoor dining for almost 2 months now. I don't see any reason why the governor should not at least consider regionally. Schools are going to be opening soon for in-person education. Colleges are allowed to open their dining halls. Children in the schools will be eating without masks, breakfast, lunch, drinking, snack time. Why are the schools the first to open? By the way, regionally, he's letting each district come up with their own plan, but yet these businesses can't. I think that's something that seriously needs to be considered.
That is the most valid point you just made. There is a regional opening for schools. So the ice is broken, and all we're asking for is a chance to take a look at our county and help us from becoming permanently damaged economically. Any other Freeholder comments?
Chairman?
Freeholder Bennett.
Hi, I was going to bring this up in reports of special committees. The Health and Human Services for NACO committee actually formed a focus group funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that I took part in, and we talked about counties nationwide, what we're going to need going forward as we're coming out of this pandemic. And the main thing that we talked about was the loss of revenue that we're experiencing, and how, as federal protections get rolled back, what it's going to look like for our counties and our constituents trying to navigate this post-pandemic reality. And I think that looking at opening up businesses is going to be a solution, but doing it in a safe way. And I think that if our economic authorities have a plan, I think that the governor should sit down with them, and we should come up with a reasonable way to open safely.
And, I'm just thinking off the top of my head because I think these are all valid points. So our county does a heck of a job. Our health department inspects a lot of places. I mean, certainly we can't put a load on ourselves to be the enforcer of state policy, but we can coordinate with the governor to give some reassurances that we can spot check here and there. I think this has to be a partnership between the state and Atlantic County to get us moving. Any other comments, please?
Freeholder, Chairman.
Yes.
I just want to make a point too with the industry that I work in as well. This indoor dining affects our tourism greatly. Number one, it's affected the casinos in a negative way that, no one can go into a restaurant because that had a lot to do. You can't have a bottle of water and open it up in the restaurant. You can't go to Starbucks at hours and buy a coffee. You have to go outside and drink that coffee. So there's a lot of things. I had somebody trying to book a meeting with us because at the Tropicana. And at the same, they were all ready to space them out, do the 6-foot distance, seat at the tables. We have the room for it, but I cannot feed them. So that was a big deterrent, and they had to go somewhere else. We cannot have any service within the function space or indoors at all. So it affects, that's another way that it's affecting us as well as the small businesses. And in return, we're not bringing staff back because we can't do this type of service.
Well, it's absolutely the fact that we've got to get, as Freeholder Bennett said, you got to get places open to make up for revenue. And if this doesn't happen, you're looking at maybe a fate worse than, the effects so far of the pandemic. But we won't mix apples with oranges and just see if the governor will consider to give us a chance to survive. Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Freeholder Risley.
I could not agree with you more. I agree with what you're saying here. We need some opening here. The governor needs to be a leader on this thing. He hasn't been. He's pulled the rug out from underneath the restaurateurs already. This has got to stop. This is insanity what's going on. We need to open restaurants. I believe that the restaurant owners, if told what the consequences will be, if they violate these rules, that's fine. But they're responsible. I think they want to cooperate. But the leadership on the state has been nil. It's been horrible. And our county is suffering for it. So I'm in full support of this resolution.
Thank you, Freeholder. Any other comments?
Chairman,
Freeholder Fitzpatrick?
I just have to disagree completely. We've had excellent leadership from the governor. That's why we have a 0.98% transmission rate. If we didn't, we'd be in much worse shape. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Okay.
Chairman.
And yes. I'm sorry, Freeholder Gatto?
Thank you. I couldn't agree more with this resolution. I see Michael Chait is on in our audience, and just want to commend him for his leadership as part of the Greater Atlantic City Chamber of Commerce and the work that they're doing with the New Jersey Business Coalition to try to urge the governor to open up beyond even indoor dining. If this is not done immediately, the governor will have to start announcing COVID-19 deaths that are not coming from positive test results on his weekly press conferences. He will have to start announcing the deaths of small businesses and people's livelihoods all across the state. And unfortunately, we'll be seeing it right here in Atlantic County. We already see it happening. Sadia's tea and coffee shop in Egg Harbor Township announced they would likely be closing permanently. I know Freeholder Dace and I have heard from Mickey and Minnie's in Galloway, a family-owned and operated business for as long as I've been alive at least, and they are struggling. We need to open up immediately. I support the county executive's comments, and I support, again, the Greater Atlantic City Chamber and the New Jersey Business Coalition and their requests to open indoor dining.
It's welcome comments, but from this resolution, we must take action. We must reach out to the governor and actually get a task force on the concept of regional opening of restaurants in Atlantic County. Any other comments, please?
Chairman.
Freeholder Fitzpatrick? Oh, who I'm missing? Who?
That was Freeholder Bennett.
Freeholder, you're moving around on my screen, Freeholder Bennett. I'm sorry. Okay.
Sorry about that. So I just wanted to make another comment. I don't think that the governor has been doing a bad job. I'll be clear about that because of our low rating, but I think it is a concern as we are a tourism industry and there are other places that are not taking COVID-19 as seriously as they should be and could potentially infect our constituencies and our communities. So I think the worry is a valid reason, but I think we have to look at the other side as well, in the fact that we were on our way to coming out of our economic recession and we couldn't afford this hit. And so at this point, I hear the concern of the governor and I support the concern as, a person who's working in the hospital. But at the same time, we have people who can't go back to work and we have businesses that are closing. So we have to find a way to meet in the middle so that we can do this safely and efficiently for everyone involved.
Well put. I mean, that's exactly where it's at. So, all right. Any final comments?
Chairman, if I may.
Freeholder Coursey?
Just let me weigh in for about 30 seconds plus. And
that'll be a record.
How much time do I have?
No, 30 seconds will be a record. Go ahead.
Since it's only 30, I'm going to take my time. Chairman, I do not disagree with this resolution. I would have to agree with my colleagues that the governor is not doing a bad job. We don't want to play partisan politics in the pandemic. But we would agree that there is a cry out in the community in terms of business owners who are suffering very bad in terms of not being able to open inside dining. Those of you who visit Atlantic City, for example, knows that places like Doc's and Knife and Fork and Angelo's, and just to name a few, are doing very well outside. Of course, they would love to have inside dining as like other establishments. But to even take that a step further, talking to casino presidents and owners. They had hired, the minute they found out that the casinos were going to be opening back up, they had brought in all the employees to do the restaurants and in the bar areas, and then only to find out they had to lay a lot of them off because they were not allowed to indoor eating. But I think John Risley said it. They are the people, everyday people who pour out coffees, they make our beds, they park our cars, and they come to work every day to try to make ends meet. But then you have those owners of these shops who are struggling to try to make every dime possible to stay afloat. And I believe I read somewhere this week or over the weekend that the governor is considering rethinking gyms and movie theaters and restaurants, indoor eating. And so I don't think it's far-fetched to say that it's not on his radar, because I'm sure in the state of New Jersey, you know as well as I know, whether it's Unite Here or any other unions, are putting enough pressure on this administration to try to get these restaurants open. As you indicated, the season's almost over. Just take Atlantic City, for example. We look at our beach and our boardwalks. And if those of you who have had the opportunity for the last few weeks in the heat wave to come to Atlantic City, the amount of people on the beach and the boardwalk, the trash overflowing, more trash than we have seen in recent years. One is because there is no inside eating, so everybody's eating outside. They're leaving the boardwalks and going to side stores, and whether it's on Atlantic Avenue or Pacific Avenue, to grab something to eat. Some casinos are fortunate to have places where they could do rooftop feeding and seating. But it's come the time now that weather's changing and seasons is changing, and how do we keep them open? And so we certainly encourage the governor and his people to think hard, and not long, but to think hard in terms of trying to move in the right way, in the right direction to get these indoor seating open. As I believe again was Risley who said, those who serve outside now know what the distance are. And we hope that they will continue to do that once they're given the green light to open up for indoor eating. It's going to be a long winter. And there are folks, as you indicated, are closing down because they have not been able to meet their mark this summer. So moving forward, I think it's the right resolution to do. We certainly encourage the governor to move expeditiously, but I will not say that the governor is doing such a bad job. I think his ratings prove it, that he's doing an outstanding job. And if we want to talk about job ratings, we compare the last governor with this governor, and I think the ratings would be tip-top, this governor. But there's always room for improvement. And we would just hope greater heads would prevail. We put our politics aside and let's do what's right for the business owners and to those who come to work every day trying to keep food on the table for their families. Like I said, it's going to be a long winter, and let's get moving quicker rather than later.
Thank you, Freeholder. And, I think that, the governor certainly, the subject of the governor's performance is not what we're talking about here, except in one area, regionalized opening for Atlantic County. That's the only thing I'm concerned with. And hopefully we can appeal to him and he can feel our pain.
I think he feels that pain. I think he understands loud and clear. I didn't bring the governor up. One of my colleagues did. We should have stuck to the resolution, but be as it may, we'll move forward, and I think this board will do the right thing and vote this resolution up.
Okay, and I know this board has a special advocate here that could be effective in helping us.
Without objection.
That'd be you.
So noted.
Any other comments?
For my time, Chairman.
Yeah, sure. Any other comments? Please call the roll.
Chairman, we do have a comment from the public. Mr. Michael Chait raised his hand, so I'm assuming that he would like to speak.
Please.
And we also need to move and second this motion when we come back to it.
Okay, thank you for my corrections. Why don't we do the move and second right now? How's that sound?
So move, Chairman.
Second.
Okay, We're moved and seconded. Now Mr. Chait can speak.
Where'd he go? Oh, there he is.
How's that? You can hear me now?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I want to thank all of the freeholders for the careful consideration and then looking at the documents that the New Jersey Business Coalition has put together. Something that you hit on all of the points that we discuss daily. This group is working tirelessly and directly in conjunction with the administration to get answers as to when we could potentially reopen some portions of these businesses. What we have not received at this time is any potential data that dictates an additional opening. So for example, if we are at 1% for the transmission rate, do we have to get to 0.5? Is it 0.75? We don't know that number. The Department of Health cannot tell us that number. We don't have an estimated time frame for reopening, whether it's the restaurants, the gyms. Think of Atlantic City without conventions or entertainment from October to April and what our city looks like. What our destination looks like, what Atlantic County looks like, how many more people are unemployed, because those industries and the restaurant industries also impact the supply chain for our market. We go from 20 million visitors a year, and these conventions and entertainment get us through these cold fall, winter, and spring months, and we won't have any of that at this time. We have a roundtable group put together with the food and beverage industry. We also have one with the convention and entertainment group. We are working with them to continue to provide global information to the governor's office about places that are reopening and some of the data that exists. If you look at the one CDC study the governor references about the rate of transmission in a restaurant, you'll find a significant amount of questions in that study. I've shared that with restaurateurs, et cetera, but I just want to thank you for the opportunity. I want to thank you for your careful consideration of this document. I'm happy to address any questions or thoughts you may have I forget who it was brought it up, but the freeholder brought it up earlier about who's responsible for checking, the 25% capacity, et cetera. It's the police department. They're supposed to report it to the police department. The police department is supposed to address those concerns. But at the same time, the social and public shaming of those restaurants, as the administrator of the Atlantic County Takeout, I can assure you that there is a tremendous amount of public shaming that goes on. And when these restaurants are seen as not compliant, the number of customers they will lose will impact them significantly. The only other point I'd like to make is not only are they limited and significantly limited by the number of employees, the number of customers that they're allowed to serve, their costs have increased significantly with PPE, with tenting, with potential space heaters, with a variety of different new cleaning tools, et cetera. Their costs have increased significantly while their revenue is declining as we move into these colder months. So real concern from the restaurant, food and beverage industry. We're working with the National Restaurant Hospitality Association and the state on a national PR campaign that's coming up soon. I'll have more information for you on that maybe in a week. But thank you so much for your careful consideration of this resolution. Please use me as a resource. If there's anything I can do to help, by all means, happy to help. I can put my cell phone number in the chat box. But I wanted to thank you for your leadership through this time, because we intend to take this resolution and share it with the League of Municipalities and get every county in the state to create an identical resolution or something very similar for them to support.
Thank you, Michael. And certainly we appreciate you making your comments. And as we move forward, reaching out to the governor, we may reach out to you as well to fill in some of the possible tragic numbers that are going to occur if we don't get inside dining soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the public wish to speak?
No other public input.
Okay. Any other freeholder comment? All right, cool. I'm sorry.
Just one last comment, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Freeholder Days.
Yeah, I want to thank Mike for being on here and for being the sounding board for me. He's one of the people that I have reached out to regularly when I'm, I don't say confronted, but when I'm faced with the emotional request from the business owners here, it's Mike has been there. But what I do want to stress is that what struck me about the Business Coalition, the Greater Atlantic City Chamber's letter, is that it's logical and it's data driven and it's not political at all. And I think, I just want to reinforce that we all need to work together for the betterment of Atlantic County.
Hey, thank you, Freeholder. No other comments? We'll call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. I think we did represent our constituents here today by trying to get something from this resolution. Brings us to the end of our printed agenda. Reports of special committees from the board. Anyone on a special committee wish to make a report? Is that Freeholder Fitzpatrick?
Yes, sir. The Senior Citizen Advisory Board met a couple of weeks ago for the first time since the pandemic started. I have a couple of notes from that meeting. The freeholders previously approved emergency funding for food distribution due to the senior centers being closed due to COVID-19, and that funding expires on August 31st. The committee is asking, I believe they'll ask shortly, Jerry would know this, if they ask to be extended until December 31st. They have frozen meals that are being delivered to participants' homes 5 days worth at a time since they can't get to the center. Additionally, site managers are doing well calls to participants. If there's no answer and no return call, they send somebody out there to check on these folks. The Older American Act grant will be on the, oh, that's old news, sorry. And Resolution 353 that we voted on today, talking about the fiscal year 2021 funding plan, people can comment and participate in a meeting next Tuesday at 11 o'clock by going onto our website, aclink.org/intergenerational services. So we can input our feelings about that there. That is all. You're muted.
Somebody's got to get me a self-muting microphone. Any other reports of special committees to the board today?
Chairman, just would like to make mention that the Lake Lenape Dam Committee met this week and reviewed preliminary recommendations for the approach to their dam replacement. I'm sure this will go to Roads and Bridges to be reviewed in depth. But looks like they've come up with the recommendation, some cost estimates. There's a lot of good science behind their recommendation that I won't get into here because I can't practice as an engineer. But a lot of good work there. So it sounds like we have some next steps coming soon in terms of making that decision on where to go and then renewing our contract with potentially WSP as our contractor on the project for the next phase. And then we'll be able to get into the next phase of design work and, hopefully get to a point where we're bidding it out at some point next year. But so a lot of good discussion, particularly on the safety of the dam and some issues we've had with people, trying to go to it and maybe take some matters into their own hands. So a lot of good discussion on each of those items. And Mark ran a great meeting with the team from the county and just happy to see us continuing to make forward progress. So thanks, Mark and the team.
That's good stuff. That's been a long time coming, and just the mere fact that they have some dates in the future where they're going to start putting some contractors in place should make a lot of people happy. All right, thank you. Any other reports of special committees? Seeing none. Any unfinished business? Seeing none. Any new business? Seeing none. Any correspondence we wish to discuss today, freeholders? Any correspondence that we received? Okay, back open to the public. Try a new public format here. Anyone in the public that wishes to speak, type yes in the text box and we'll make you a participant.
We do not have any public comments. Mr. Chait did provide his telephone number and email address. If any freeholders, I'll email that to everyone.
Email it to everybody? Okay, thank you.
But no public comments.
All right, we'll close the public. Anything for the good of the order?
Chairman, if I may.
Absolutely. Freeholder Corsi.
First of all, let me just say, I think this might be a record meeting for a long time. Last meeting, I think y'all were done in 20 minutes because I wasn't on. This meeting, you've been almost 2.5 hours, and none of my fault. So I will not.
Don't self-admonish yourself. Don't self-admonish. God listens to that.
Nice try, Corsi. Nice try.
Amy's fault, but I want to thank Jerry. Yesterday we had a miscommunications, and as I look at it, the city was due to pay its taxes to the county. On yesterday, some communications problem, whatever it was, Jerry, being the person that stays late, it had to be somewhere between 5:30, 6 o'clock, maybe a little later than that. The city wanted to make sure we paid our taxes to the county in a little over $8 million so that we would not be penalized for being late. And on behalf of the mayor and our business administrator and our CFO, we want to thank you for answering the phone after hours for most folks. And you accepted that check on behalf of the taxpayers of Atlantic City. And I wanted to tell you, thank you publicly. That was one of the reasons, Amy, I had to vote for the resolution that came up regarding the COVID-19, because Jerry told me it was horse trading. In order to accept it yesterday, he would like my support. That's a LOL. But Jerry, thank you so much on behalf of the administration for not penalizing the taxpayers of Atlantic City for if we would have been late on today. We wanted to pay our part, our $8 million plus to the county, and that we look forward to continue the dialogue with the County of Atlantic.
Very nicely said, Freeholder Corsi. Anybody else have anything as good to the order? Anything for the good of the order?
Chairman.
Freeholder Gatto.
Just as we celebrate women's suffrage and the 19th Amendment as it plays out in history over the next week and 100 years of our ability to vote, just want to encourage people. There's a ton of resources. Susan B. Anthony is from womensvote100.org, which was a federal centennial commission that was created in celebration and education of the suffrage movement. So please head out there. There are not only great resources for adults to get educated and find ways that they can celebrate this right that we have, but there's a lot of really great children's resources in terms of reading lists, books, other female elected officials reading books to children, puzzles, activities, things like that. Just a great way to really connect with, in particular, young women, but all children, about our history and hopefully in a way that makes it a little interesting. So instead of flat Stanley, they can walk around with flat Susan B. Anthony and tell their friends and family why they're doing that. So just want to encourage everybody to check out that website. There are tons of other websites with, again, resources and information. And please, let's take action on this Tuesday to educate ourselves and celebrate this really great accomplishment in our history. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Real good subject for the good of the order. Anything else? If not, I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Have a good day.